Hi there, this is Anup here, and today we are going to talk about new feature delivery options that Microsoft introduced recently. Microsoft is planning to continuously innovate using new feature delivery mechanism. It is nothing but the same technology that they used with enablement packages. In this video, what we are going to see is how to control the enablement of features on your enterprise or school devices. You don't have to confuse your employees new changes every month in Windows operating system. Your business users might get confused with new changes if we deliver new features, new changes in taskbar, search options, start menu, in all these core components of Windows that business users use every day. So Microsoft is providing as an option to turn off these features until the next release of feature updates. We will see more details about this, how to control this using Intune, and we will look into the registry keys and event logs to confirm whether these changes are applied on Windows 11 device or not. So don't skip it. Let's go ahead and watch it out. Let's look into new delivery options for new features, how Microsoft is planning to deliver new features on monthly basis as part of latest cumulative update deployments, and how to control, how to turn off new features on monthly basis using Intune. All these things we are going to see in this video, and we will also look into event logs and registry on Windows 11 device to confirm whether the policies are in place or not. Let's go to the next slide. In this slide we are going to discuss about the difference between quality versus feature updates. What is quality updates? Quality updates are traditional operating system updates. Basically, these are monthly updates. Normally, these updates will get released on second Tuesday of each month. We call this as a patch Tuesday. These includes security, critical, and driver updates normally. Now, with new changes, there are new features also included into latest cumulative updates. We'll see that over here in this table. And feature updates. What is feature updates? These are basically operating system upgrades, previously known as operating system upgrades. But recently, Microsoft started calling it as feature updates, and feature updates contains all the quality updates until that time, all the LCU revisions until the release of feature update, and then it also includes significant feature additions, so new features, new inbox applications, etc, etc. Let's look at this particular table to understand the main difference between quality and feature updates with new announcement of continuous innovation from Microsoft. Quality updates are monthly patches delivered on Patch Tuesday, that is second Tuesday of every month. It includes security, critical, and driver updates. Now, it also includes EKB, enablement packages. Enablement packages is a technology that Microsoft uses to deliver new features as part of LCU. Been in use for several years now. They have tested this with Windows 10 upgrades. EKB would help Microsoft to deliver new features via LCU in an off state. The default state is off. These features won't be enabled by default. Okay, that is the quality updates. Now, feature updates. Feature updates is yearly upgrades. For example, Windows 11 22H2 to Windows 11 23H2. Feature updates includes LCU, the latest LCU revision plus new features. With the new scenario, when Microsoft delivers the new feature updates, it will automatically enable all the new features for all the devices. So what is new in this? Regular shipping of new features via monthly latest cumulative updates, LCU. It is also called as moments, and the technology that Microsoft uses is enablement package. Now let's go to the next slide. Now let's understand what are the options to enable, disable new monthly feature delivery that is introduced by Microsoft via servicing, that is LCU, latest cumulative update. Now that features introduced via monthly servicing, you need to have a mechanism to enable it or disable it so that some of your users can test it from a business perspective, some of the business users, and for some of the business users it will be turned off. New features will be turned off. By default, all these new features delivered on a monthly cascadence is going to be off. It is by default off. If you want to enable it, there are options to enable it, but it is turned off only for a time period. It's not a permanent turn off of all features, because this temporary turn off or disablement is only allowed until Microsoft releases next annual feature update, such as Windows 11 22H2 to Windows 11 23H2. Once 23H2 is delivered, all the features which were turned off will automatically get enabled as part of 23H2 upgrade or feature updates. So these are the three options which I'm going to discuss. Disable, not configured. These two are for group policies basically, and this is the one for CSP and Intune. Disable, not configured, not allowed. All these three are same, because what it is going to do is new feature will remain off until next annual feature release, as I discussed over here. And let's check what if you enable it or allowed it. Enable it from group policy or allowed it from Intune policy. The new features will be available as part of monthly updates. So all the new features will be available as part of monthly latest cumulative updates. And if you are changing the policy from on to off or enable to disable or not allowed to allowed, then restart is required. Policy changes to take effect. So after the restart, if you have enabled it or allowed it, then it will start getting the new features. And during the next LCU, it will start getting new features which are released during those LCU release. We have discussed about new thing in the previous slide. So this is enablement package, and we call it as moments also. It is nothing but continuous innovation that Microsoft has recently announced. But it is nothing but industry standard probably, because iOS and probably Android operating systems are handling things in the similar way already. If I understand correctly, Microsoft is little bit late in that game. So let's go to the next slide. In this slide, we are going to talk about the CSP. What is the CSP? To disable or turn off the feature enablement during the monthly patch Tuesdays. So this is the CSP which we are going to talk about today. Allow temporary enterprise feature control. Why temporary? Because it is only possible to control the new feature enablement until the next release of feature updates. 23H2 in my previous example. This is the policy to disable new feature enablement with monthly patches. So by default, the default value of this policy is disabled. But why we are deploying this again through Intune? To ensure that it won't get enabled or user cannot enable it manually, etc. I would recommend to create this policy and deploy it to devices so that new features will be in turn off state if you disable or if you select the value as not allowed in Intune policy. Let's look at the scope. Scope is again device, and it is not allowed for home edition Windows 11 versions. It's mentioned that insider preview, but I'm going to see whether it is available for production also in the demo later. And this is the CSP path. You can see it's part of update over here, and the value is integer, and the default value to disable is 0. Now let's go to the next slide. In this slide, we will see what are the options from Intune, how you can deploy this policy, allow temporary enterprise feature control policy using Intune to all Windows 11 devices that you want. So I'm going to go with settings catalog in this scenario also, because it it is easy to manage, and you need to ensure that new features are off until the next feature update. This is only applicable for managed devices. What does managed devices? Basically, if you are managing the software updates of a device using WSUS policies or SCCM or using Windows Update for Business policies, then those devices are managed devices in this context. So I'm going to set the value as not allowed. This means disabled. The new features will be off. If you want to change from enabled to disable or allowed to disable, then you need to make sure that the device is restarted. There are other options also, such as custom profile, etc., to configure this particular policy using the CSP, which we discussed in the last slide. Now let's go to the next slide. This is all about Intune troubleshooting, how to start troubleshooting. We discussed several times about this, so you can refer to the video over here if you click on I button in YouTube over here. So I'm going to skip this slide for now, and let's go to the next slide. In this slide, we are going to talk about how we are going to verify the policy deployment for this particular software update related policy. You can collect the logs and check the event logs and registry keys for all the MDM related deployments, and policy deployment is part of MDM related deployment. Event logs, this is the place you have to go to if you want to check the event logs related to software update for business related policies. And registry key, it is device based, so I'm not going to cover the user based one. It is device based policy. And under providers, if you go to the provider over here, this is a unique provider for my scenario. For your device, it will be different. You can get this information from event logs actually, which is a SID for the provider. Then go to default, then device. It won't be local policy security options in this scenario. It will be update. So we will see that in the demo. Now let's go to the demo and check it out. So I have logged into Intune admin center. I have selected devices node over here, and under devices, if I filter with Windows and then go to configuration profiles and then create a profile, this is the way how we create profile. Click on create profile and select the platform and then profile type. Windows 10 later, that is the platform I selected, and profile type I'm going to select settings catalog, and then I'm going to click on create to start creating a profile for Windows Update for Business policy deployment to control the monthly feature enablement. Click on create. Then I have entered the name and description of the policy, and platform is already selected. Now let's go to the next page by clicking on next button over here. Now we are in settings catalog page over here, settings catalog, and under settings catalog you would be able to see a hyperlink, add settings. Click on that. Now use the search box to search for settings. Once you enter the search keyword over here, I'm going to use the policy name, CSP policy name, in this scenario that I put in the description of the last page. Click on search button. This will be enabled once you enter the keyword. I have entered the keyword now. Now I'm going to click on search button over here. Now what you can see is there's a category called Windows Update for Business. If I click on the category, there will be a policy setting down below called AllowTemporaryEnterpriseFeatureControl. This is the policy setting that we want to use to control the monthly feature enablement for business users. So I want to basically turn off monthly feature enablement for business users. So click on this box to add that settings to here. Now the setting is here, as you can see. Once you confirm that, you can close this window by clicking on cross button over here. Now from here you have two options. One is not allowed, that is the default one, and the other one is allowed. Allowed means the features will get enabled monthly basis. Whenever Microsoft releases a new feature as part of LCU, it will get enabled if you select allowed option over here. But if you select not allowed option, that means the features will get delivered but it won't be enabled and users won't be able to see those new new features until next feature update release. So that is what I'm going to do in this not allowed. So why we are deploying not allowed? Because to ensure that users are not enabling it and users are not getting new features, etc. So not allowed is selected, and if you hover over here, you would be able to see these details. Enable features that are off until next feature update for managed devices. We have already discussed this in the presentation. Now click on next button over here to proceed further. Next, and we discussed about scope tags in the previous videos. You can refer to those videos over here in I button in YouTube. Now click on next to continue. And this is important. This is where we are going to select the device group to deploy this policy. Probably if your organization might have different types of business users, and for IT users you want to turn on monthly feature updates, then you need to select a custom group over here, custom device group, by clicking on this add groups button. This is to include policy. There's option to exclude devices also by selecting the groups, but we are going to use the include option so that the devices will get the policy once it is included. If you add some groups over here in the exclude, then those devices added under excluded groups won't get this policy. So I'm going to click on add groups, clicked on add group, and then this blade popped up, and in the search box I entered HDMD Anup, that is the group name which I want to search for, and I got the group over here. Once I click on this group, it will get selected over here. Once it is selected, you can proceed with select option, this select option. Okay, now the group is selected. Click on select button over here to confirm the selection. Clicked on that, and now the group is added over here under included group. So all the devices in this group will get this particular policy for Windows Update for Business. There's only one device over here in this group, that is my test device. Now I'm going to click on next to continue creating the policy. And this is the review page where you can review all your configuration. So you can see the basic informations over here, name, description, and platform. Then this is the configuration settings. This is the policy, and we set it as disabled. And then if I scroll down, you would be able to see the included group over here and devices, filters. We have not used filters. If you want to know more about filters, refer to a video over here in I button. Now once you are ready to create the policy, click on create button over here. Creating the policy. Now you can see the policy is created now, and you can search for the policy if you want. Now let's move to the Windows 11 device and check whether the device got the policy or not. I couldn't trace the policy deployment on Windows 11 device. I did a restart and then tried again. I checked the device management from Windows Update for Business perspective, whether this device has different Windows Update for Business policies or not. Yes, it has. And I tried to check the event logs and other things, but I couldn't get the details why the policy is not getting deployed on this particular device, even though the policy is not visible in Windows 11 device itself. But if you look at Intune portal, you can see the policy is successfully deployed. So let's see how to proceed further with V2 version. As I mentioned, we'll come back and create a version 2 video of this once I'm able to resolve this issue. Now that you have seen all the details about new feature updates, difference between quality and feature update deployments, and what are the new things included with continuous innovation into Windows 11 or Windows operating system going forward. We have looked into the CSP, two options within CSP, not allowed, allowed, and what is the default option, whether that is an integer value or a string value, where you can select the policy in Intune. This settings catalog is the only option to implement this Windows Update for Business policy. Can we do it through group policy? Can we use custom policy to deploy this one? We have checked all these options. Hope you liked it. Thank you for watching. See you around.